Okay, let's get started. So, just wanted to update you guys on Kathy Dom. For those of you that know her, some of you do, some of you don't. She is having surgery again this morning to remove the tumor that grew back in her brain. So, want to dedicate practice to her today. She's a very brave person. It's been 6 months since her last surgery, and she's gone through chemo, radiation since then, and then it still grew back. So she needs lots of prayers and good vibes, which maybe we'll send her this morning. So should we get started? I've been reading from this book, Love is Letting Go of Fear. And he talks about that you should have a single goal. And that single goal should be peace of mind. Peace of mind as our single goal is the most potent motivating force we can have. To have inner peace, we need to be consistent in having peace of mind as our single goal. Instead of having a single goal, we all attempt to try to juggle multiple goals. Juggling can only serve to deflect our focus and increase our conflict. So there's two halves to ourselves, right? We have this side that's, I call it the warring self, the angry self that all of us have, and it sneaks up on us at the most unusual times, usually with our closest and dearest friends and family. And then we have this softer side, I like to call it the universal side, that we can tap into if we choose to. So we have this warring side, we have this universal side, and when things come up, we get a choice. Which one are we gonna bring forth? And so a lot of times if you react, you'll have this warring side show up. And then sometimes we can just pause. And if we are trying to keep that goal of peace of mind, we can pause and we can turn on that universal side. And then we can choose to act rather than react, which I every time I'm able to do that, it feels so good. And that gives me peace of mind when I say, oh, I noticed, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to choose this instead. And a lot of times there are things that you need to address with people or with yourself that make you angry, but you can do it in a way that gives you peace of mind. So think on that, close your eyes. And turn to your breath. My number one way to find a little calm, tap into my softer self. And as breath is known as prana or life force, a lot of times it brings to you a different way of thinking about something. We want to be like the owl who can see things from many different perspectives and angles. And we can't do that unless we do have that warring side to us, an angry side. But we can find compassion for those who are in that mode, since we've been there ourselves. And please bring hands to heart center. May we all be able to choose the way we want to act. We're much better able to see the grace that's always around us and within us. We're able to do that. And please lower your hands, open your eyes. And let's just start by doing a little twist. So twist to your right. Stay strong through the sits bones. I'm just going to warm up our hips, our core, and then switch to the other side. And then come on back to center and stretch your arms up. Really feel your rib cage drawing back so you feel nice and tall. And then bring your right hand off to the side and arc towards it. And breathe. Good. And then come on up and switch. And then come on up and fold forward a little bit. See how your hips are feeling, your back. And coming back up, go ahead and transition to your back. And bring the soles of your feet together and let your knees open wide. And you can put one hand on your belly, one hand on your chest, and just kind of monitor your breath. So you get the breath going a little deeper. Good. And then before we get too cold, bring the knees up, bring the feet under the knees. And I want you to feel like you're putting your spine in a little traction. So you're going to bring the base of your hand right in your hip crease and press the whole pelvis away. So you're pressing your thighs away and it feels like your pelvis is lengthening long. And then resist by extending long through the top of your head. Draw your rib cage back a little bit. You feel your sacrum grounded, your shoulder blades grounded, the back of your head grounded. Oh, that should feel really good. I'm going, ah. Good. Relax your shoulders a little bit. And now just hug your knees in towards your chest. And you can roll side to side. Just massage that low back area. Good. And now bring the feet down, but wide this time. Right on the edge of your mat. Bring your knees together. Press the knees together. And again, bring your hands right in the hip creases and just pull your pelvis down and away and lengthen through the top of your head. Press your knees. You got to really feel yourself pressing the knees because it feels a little different angle. Good. Release. Hug your knees in. And then come back to that utkatasana position. So soles of the feet together, knees wide this time. Press the feet together and press the thighs away again and lengthen your spine. We're just warming up slow. I want you to really get used to the feeling of connecting long through your spine before we do anything else. Good, and then release. Bring your knees up, feet under knees, and then your hands are going to come to the mid-thigh this time, and lift the shins parallel to the floor. Flex the feet. We call this abdominal bracing. You're just going to press your thighs away and up and resist in your core, but lengthen through the top of your head. And keep breathing. You'll feel some work in your low belly. So I always think low belly up, rib cage back helps me to keep a long spine. And you don't have to do it so hard that you can't breathe through it. Notice if one side feels stronger than the other. Notice. Good, and then release, hug your knees in. And just kind of working from that again, I want you to bring your shins back up, flex your feet, hands on your thighs, and just release your left arm so it's straight up. So you're using that abdominal bracing with your right leg. And then 10 times you're going to extend the left leg and the left arm. Try not to change anything in your core and bring it back up. 2, 3, 4, 5. Keep pressing the right thigh away and up. Really feel your length. I lost track. How many have we done? 9, 10. If you've done 10, you can relax a moment. I did them pretty fast. If you still have more to go, I have to not talk so much and count more. But let's go with the other side. So press the thighs away and up. Start like that. Flex the feet. And then bring your right arm up. And then extend right leg and right arm. Try not to let anything change. 2, 3, 4, 2 more. And relax, hug your knees in. Roll side to side. One side seems a lot harder for me than the other. Okay, bring your feet flat right under your knees, hands by your hips. Keep trying to get that spinal traction, so nice long spine. Press into your feet, lift your hips up. Should feel kind of good after what you just did. Satu Bandha. Lift the heart. Hug the heels towards you. Good, and lower back down. Last time for abdominal bracing. So you should feel really long in your spine. Lift your shins, hands to your thighs. Press up and away, flex your feet. And breathe. Don't do it so hard that you can't breathe. My tendency is to always do everything as hard as I can, but you still get the benefit. 2 more breaths. And on your exhale, release, lower your feet to the floor. Hands by your hips, lift to Satu Bandha again. So lift the hips, bridge pose. Stretch out all those muscles that you were just working on. And then lower down, leg your knees in and roll back and forth until you can come up to seated and then transition to all fours. Take off a layer if you're warm now. And just work through some cow, cat. You'll feel where you've been working those muscles. And you can get a little wild in your cow cats, just swinging your hips or your shoulders or whatever feels like you need to move a little bit. And then pause and take a child's pose and come up on fingertips. So keep the arms long. Warm up the shoulders, feel the armpits lifting, but the clavicle broadening. Warm up the shoulders a bit. If your knees don't do this, don't go all the way back. You can do this with your butt up and a nice long spine. And then come on up to all fours again. Extend your right leg, just stretch through the ball of the foot. You feel, and then I want you to get that feeling of abdominal bracing again. So think low belly is up, rib cage is back, nice long through the top of the head, the back of the neck is long, and then lift that right leg up off the floor. And then maybe extend the left arm to go with it. You're feeling balanced. Feel the lift right in the middle of your hamstrings. Draw your low belly up, rib cage back, long back of neck, extend. And then release the hand. And don't release the foot, swing it off to the right side, kind of in line with your knee. And as you set it down, feel like all four corners of the foot are grounded, but then get that feeling of traction in your spine again. You'll feel the stretch on the inner thigh more acutely, and then move forward and back a little bit. And now lift that foot up and step it all the way up to the outside of your right hand, if you can. And you might want blocks under your hands here. Feel free if you want to. Lift the back knee. Get that feeling of traction in your spine, nice length. I call this humble deep lunge. See what you can feel. And then lower the back knee. Swing that knee back around, and we'll work through the other side. You might have to bring your hands under your shoulders a bit more. Extend the left leg, press through the ball of the foot, and then lift. As soon as you feel the spinal traction, lift. Hips stay square to the floor. Low belly draws up, rib cage back. Maybe extend the right arm. Nice long back of neck. Breathe. And bring the right hand down. Swing the left foot off to the left side. Ground all four corners down. Make sure the kneecap and the toes point the same direction. That's the key. Feel like you're doing that abdominal bracing. And then if you choose to go deeper, you can move forward and back, just kind of exploring the ligaments and the muscles in the inner thigh. She's like, I'm waiting for you to come down and give me a kiss. Good, and then up that left foot all the way to the left side. I always have to move my hands forward a little bit, my right knee back, and then lift the back knee. And just explore. Low belly's up, rib cage is back. Really keeping the hips square. So I feel like I'm hugging my left foot and my right foot diagonally towards each other, hugging to the midline. Don't bite her hair. It's a loving bite. Sometimes she gets really amorous and bites my hand too. Good. And then lower the knee, swing the foot back around, and take child's pose again. Come up on fingertips. And then making your way back to all fours. Lift your knees just a little bit off the floor. And think abdominal bracing here, even though your hands aren't on your thighs, you can think of it that way and engage your core. And then straighten the legs, come to a downward facing dog, but don't lose the engagement in your core. Broaden the clavicles, shoulder blades on the back, low belly up, sits bones back. And just walk it out a little bit. And then very carefully walk your hands back to your feet. Come to a forward fold there. And just to kind of find that abdominal bracing again, interlace your hands behind your occipital lobe right there in your head. And then pretend like you're going to press the head into your hands and lengthen your spine. You'll feel more engagement in the core. Maybe a little something. You might have to keep your knees bent. Good. Now keep that. Release the hands. Bend your knees and come to like a flat back position. I want you to work on drawing low belly up, rib cage back, and then interlace your hands. Press the palms forward and come to this like you're a tabletop. It's called bear pose. And breathe. One more breath. Good. Release down, back to forward fold. Turn the toes out slightly. Make your way to Malasana, deep squat. And if this doesn't work for your knees, you don't have to go down as far. Hug your arms with your knees. Engage your core more. It feels really good. And then come back to a forward fold and walk your hands back out, downward facing dog. Bring your feet just a little wider. I want you to feel the abdominal bracing, really engaged core, and come up to the right fingertips. Your left hand's planted, your right fingertips just explored. You feel the same in down dog. Maybe you can reach the right hand off the floor and bring the arm to your back. Three-legged down dog. See if you can feel the same in your core. So low belly up, rib cage back, long back of neck. Extend through the top of the head. Good. Release the hand back to the floor. Come forward to a plank like that with your feet wide. Feel like you have abdominal bracing going on. Maybe one-handed plank. So come up on fingertips. Just see, can I keep my core just as strong? Can I keep the length? Maybe I touch my left shoulder, my right hand, three-legged plank. Good. Release. Lower your knees and lower down to the mat on your bellies. If you didn't get all the way there, it's okay. Bring your hands wide, come up on fingertips, and lift to a funky cobra. So make sure the shoulder blades are on your back, that you're broadening, and then lift up and slither around, just kind of warming up the shoulders again, being really true to where you're at this morning. Good. Slide the hands back, push up to all fours, curl the toes, lift the knees slightly, find the abdominal bracing, and lift back to downward facing dog. If you're feeling really tight, you might want blocks under your hands here because we're going to extend the right leg and then step the right foot through to deep lunge. Lower the back knee, hug diagonally, bring the hands to the front knee. Okay. Slowly come upright. I want you to just do that thing where you interlace your hands, right? Kind of cupping your occipital lobe and press into it, lengthen up. So you're really getting that traction feeling in your spine again. And then if you can keep that, extend your arms, Anjaneyasana. Maybe bend a little deeper if it's feeling really good. Good, and then touch down. Slide your hips back, straighten your right leg. Might have to, I like to move my heel forward. Keep the hips square. You can use blocks under your hands if your hamstrings are tight. Flex the foot. Draw the leg into the socket. Draw low belly up. Rib cage back. Lengthen. And maybe fold a little deeper. You decide. I like to keep a little baby bend in my knee. And then you can always, once you have that connection up and down your leg, then you can always stretch your toes longer. Good, and then bend back into your front knee. Lift your back knee. Feel that for a moment. And step forward, Uttanasana. And why not, Malasana. And do that again, Uttanasana. And Malasana. And last time, Uttanasana. And then step all the way back, downward facing dog. Come forward to plank. Lower to the mat. Cobra. And lower back down. And then push back to all fours. Curl the toes under. We have another side to do here. So come up to that knee lifted position. Really engage. Feel like you're doing the abdominal bracing. That's what I want you to feel more than anything. And slowly push back. Downward facing dog. Make sure your feet are nice and wide because you want to feel stable in your base. Your heels don't have to touch down. If you're feeling stable, come up on left fingertips. Maybe you're feeling good. You can bring the left hand to your back or your hip. Feel like a down dog. More breath. And bring the hand down. Come forward to plank pose. Make sure you're lined up correctly. Feet are nice and wide, really strong. Come up on fingertips. Maybe one-handed plank. Lengthen your spine, really strong. Good, and release. Push back. Downward facing dog. Extend the left leg and step it through. Deep lunge. I'll give you a minute because if it didn't go all the way up there, you can adjust. Lower the back knee. Hands to the front knee. Slowly come upright. Grasp your occipital lobe and gently press the head in. And as you do, feel the low belly draw up, the rib cage draw back. Getting that spinal traction. Extend the arms. Don't lose it. Good, touch down. If you want blocks under your hands, use them. Slide the hips back. You want your right hip to be above your right knee. Flex the foot. Draw the left leg into the socket. Put a micro bend there. Think rib cage back. Low belly up. Sits bones back. Lengthen all the way, just like you've been doing. Maybe fold deeper. You decide. Maybe stretch the toes longer. You'll feel different things getting longer. More breath. Bend back into the front knee. Lift the back knee. Step forward. Forward fold. And this time, slowly roll all the way up to standing. Stretch your arms up. When you do that, do you feel your core disengage? If you did, re-engage it. You might have to just kind of play with it. So we did this lying down. Now we're going to do it standing up. So shift your weight to your right foot and maybe bend both knees a little bit. Bring your left hand to the thigh and think abdominal bracing as I lift the thigh. Press down and away, but resist. So the leg draws in and back, hips stay square. And release. Let's try the other side. So both arms up. Shift the weight to the left foot. Yeah, right hand to the thigh. Abdominal bracing on this side. And release. Good. Inhale, stretch the arms up. And exhale, fold forward to Uttanasana. Inhale, pranam. Exhale, fold. Step the right foot back to deep lunge, and then the left foot back, deep lunge. Inhale, come to plank. Exhale through chaturanga to the mat. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, down. Inhale, all fours. Curl the toes, lift the knees. Get that abdominal bracing going. Push back, downward facing dog. Walk the hands back to the feet. Uttanasana at the back of your mat. Bend the knees, come to that flat back position. Think abdominal bracing. Interlace the hands. Maybe stretch the palms forward if that feels good, or the knuckles, whatever. I want you to feel like you're tabletop. I always have to tell myself, middle back puffed up. Lengthen through the top of the head. Good. And then release your hands. Bring the hands to the knees and bring your torso upright so you're still in chair pose. Bring the hands to the middle of your thighs. Step on your left foot and then keep the right hand on the knee as you come up to that abdominal bracing, one-legged abdominal bracing. Pull the leg into the socket. Good. Release the hand. Step it forward. Crescent warrior. Tricky, huh? You want to interlace your hands behind your occipital lobe. Really make sure you're engaging the core. And then stretch the arms up again. Good. Now make fists. Lean forward onto your right foot and maybe step the left foot back a little bit. Think really strong core. Lift the back leg. 2, warrior 3. And then touch down. Lift the left leg. Standing split. Good. Bend into the front knee. Warrior 3 again, maybe. And step that foot back. Crescent warrior. Hard transition, ground the back foot down. Warrior 2. You guys are doing great. So are you, Artie. Now this is optional. You can bring your arms behind you, interlace. Keep really strong in your legs. You might have to keep a little baby bend because I want you to feel all parts of your foot connected, especially that back foot. It's easy to feel the front foot, right? Because your weight's on it. And then just fold over. I call this humble warrior. If that's too intense, you can bring your hands down. Then come back up. Warrior 2. And then windmill down. Turn the back heel up and step back, down dog. And take a child's pose. And you can actually just allow your head to rest on your hands if you'd like. Take in. If you're feeling angry like a warrior, it's okay to be a warrior. Just be the gentle warrior. And then come on up to all fours again. I like to have my hands slightly in front of my shoulders because then I'll be lined up right. Curl the toes under, lift the knees. Think abdominal bracing. Slowly stretch back, downward facing dog. Walk the hands back to the feet, forward fold. Bend the knees, come to that bear pose. So rib cage is back, shoulders on the back, low belly up, interlace the hands. You can even try and hug your rib cage with your knees if you're that deep. Feel like you're a tabletop. Lengthen through the top of your head. Good. Bring your hands to your knees. Come up to chair pose. Shift your weight to your right foot. Come on up, lift the left knee. Abdominal bracing on this side. It's hard to get into that position. Thank God I have the wall here. Release the hand, step forward. Crescent warrior. Interlace the hand, press back. You can really feel that abdominal bracing, lengthen, and then extend up again. Hard transition. Ground the back foot down. Maybe you're not wide enough, warrior two. I always have to kind of adjust my feet. Feel the back foot really anchored. Did you lose the core? Just check. Feel both feet super grounded. Interlace your hands. Fold forward. Humble warrior. Come on, back up. Press into both feet. Really feel strong. I forgot something. So we're gonna have to go back. Turn the back heel up. Crescent warrior. You can do this. Feel the abdominal bracing. That's the key. Keep that. Make fists lean forward. Shift your weight. Lift the back leg. Warrior three. Touch down. Extend the leg. And bring that foot down. Step back. Downward facing dog. Inhale, come to plank. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, cobra. Just push her out of the way, Connie. Connie's allergic to her too. Oh, that feels good. Feel like that you have that spinal traction even here. You can really lengthen. Good, and then lower down. Push back, child's pose. Nice. Slow, long breath. And then come on up to all fours. Curl your toes under and see if you can just push back to a deep squat. Our feet are warm now. Maybe it works. Good. Straighten the legs to forward fold. Bend the right knee and then bring the right hand on the outside of your left shin and your left hand to your hip. Using that abdominal bracing, twist. And maybe extend the left arm. Yeah. And draw your low belly up. Oh, that feels good, right? Unwind. Straighten the right leg, bend the left knee. Left hand to the outside of the hip, right, or outside of the shin, right hand to the hip. Get the abdominal bracing going, twist. Maybe extend the arm. Broaden the shoulders. Lengthen through the top of the head. Good, unwind. Take a moment here and make sure your feet are hip distance apart, no more. Bend your knees a little bit. Now bring your right hand to the outside of your left shin again, and then below your right elbow, bring your left hand to the outside of your right shin. Bend the knees a little more so your armpits are on your knees. And just see, you can come down to a deep squat. This kind of lengthens your spine. Hopefully, feels really good, like you're trying to lengthen your spine. Yeah. See, give yourself spinal traction even here. Good. Now lift your hips up just to that flat back position. And then see, maybe you can move forward just a little bit, hugging the hands, hugging the knees, and then move back. And then release, come to forward fold. Walk your hands out. Downward facing dog. Feel your knuckle mounds grounded. Your armpits nice and lifted, nice long spine. And lower your knees. And come to a seated position. I'm going to use a blanket, but you don't have to. If you can sit up nice and tall without the blanket, feel free. I like to turn it to a point, and then I can put just my sit bones on it, and I have a little more freedom in my hips. And then stretch your legs out long in front of you. You might have to inner spiral to make sure the sit bones are right underneath you. And then feel like you're doing that abdominal bracing. So low belly draws up, sit bones stay grounded, shoulder blades on the back, extend your arms up. Don't lose any of that when you extend your arms. Press the heels down a little bit. Good, and then you can lean forward just to where your hamstrings say, oh, that's enough. And then when they do, just bring your hands down. If you want to fold deeper, keep your feet super active, kneecaps and toes point up. You can bring the hands to the ankles, the feet, wherever it feels good. Think of that spinal traction you've been doing. Faces step back, spine gets nice and long. Uttanasana, intense stretch of the east side of your body. One more breath. Come on, back up. Bring the soles of your feet together again. We did this at the first. I like to bring my hands under my ankles because I have bad ankles and that kind of supports them. But you can bring them under your heels if you want. Because then, guess what? You can press your forearms into those hip creases and give yourself that spinal traction. So press down, lengthen up. And then use the strength of that core to then broaden your knees apart. Feel that? And then once you have all that activity going on in your core, you have this long spine, then it's okay to fold over your feet. Feels really good. I'm making faces here. Good, and come on back up. Oh, feels nice, doesn't it? Transition to your backs, but grab a block and have that handy, please. Lay down on your backs. Right, for a moment. Just check in there. Just if you can feel any sensations that are good or maybe not good, and adjust. And then bring your feet wide. Bring your arms to a cactus or a goalpost position. Bring both knees to the right, so you're making a little triangle with your legs. Keep a curve in your low back, don't resist. Let gravity do the work. Your left knee won't come all the way down. My right one doesn't either. And then come on up and over to the left side. And one more time to the right. And one more time to the left. We call this windshield wipers. And then bringing both knees up, wiggle the feet in so they're hip distance apart and right under your knees. Bring your hands by your hips. Try and make the sides of your body as long as they can, and then draw the shoulder blades underneath you a little bit. Press into the feet. Feel the abdominal braces. So I like to feel sacrum down, shoulder blades down, back of head down to start, and the feet, all four corners of the feet. And then press into the feet and just let the hips lift, and then allow the heart to lift a little bit higher. Sati Bandha. Hug the feet towards you. You'll activate your glutes and your hamstrings a little bit more. You can feel both sides evenly. And then release all the way back down. Now we're going to do that again, but this time I'm going to have you slide a block in under your sacrum. So you can either do it the lowest height or the medium height. Don't go higher for this variation. So lift up just enough to slide the block right under the sacrum, and then bring the sacrum down. And before you do anything else, I want you to think of that abdominal bracing. So press the sacrum down, draw the rib cage back so your low ribs aren't poking up, but allow the heart to lift. Lengthen through the top of your head. Feel that? It's a lot of work, actually, when you're really pressing on the block. Good. Now, once you feel like, oh, that feels so good, relax down into the block. Let everything soften. have it be a restorative. It still feels like a lengthening of your spine, hopefully. If you want to, you're welcome to lift your knees up and maybe extend the legs. That feels good. And then just wiggle your feet around a little bit, loosen up your ankles. Allow the blood to be more in your core area. And then bring the legs back down, feet flat. And try this. Get that active core going and maybe extend your legs long over the block. Oh, that feels good. So low belly's drawing up, really engaged. So a nice long stretch out those muscles, but safely. Good, bend the knees, feet flat, lift up enough to slide the block out and come back down and hug your knees all the way in. You'll feel low back grounded down. If you want to, you can even roll into a little ball. Good, and then lowering your head and your shoulders back down, grab the knees and just push them away from you so you have a nice long spine. But as you push the knees away from you, so you're just holding the kneecaps, you can feel the curve come back in your low back. And then when your arms are fully extended, just give a little weight down. You can, it's like you're pushing your femur bone into your hip sockets. And then roll side to side a little bit. And then release and stretch out for Savasana. I encourage you to cover up or put your wrap back on. Finds it chilly down here. You at home, you have more control over that. And as you settle in, connect with your breath. Relax your scalp, your head, your ears. Relax your face, your jaw. Maybe allow the teeth to part slightly so that the jaw can settle into the socket. Relax your shoulders. Relax your arms, your hands and your fingers. Relax your chest, your belly, and especially today, your upper back, middle back, low back. Relax your pelvis, your legs. Feet, your toes. Allow the floor to support you fully. Rest on the earth. It's safe. Allow it to support you. Noticing that you're still breathing. Just take a moment to feel the coolness of the inhalation and the warmer exhalation. You can begin to stretch and move in small ways. Fingers, toes. Transitioning. Draw your knees into your chest when you're ready. Roll to the right side. And please push on up to seated. A good day for Shavasana. Give yourself a few moments. When you're faced with issues today, which self are you going to call forward? Your warring self or your infinite self? The one that wants to fight, feels like she's entitled, or the one that knows she's on a path and connected to something greater. It's your choice. Please bring hands to heart center. Thank you so much for practicing this morning. Namaste. Thanks, guys. Yeah, I wish I could play music, but since I'm doing it on Zoom, I can't. So I don't get to anymore. Thank you guys for being here at home too.
Thanks, Lisa.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.